Previously, on Rise of the Runelords. After restful nights spent fondling magic items, our heroes continued doing what heroes do best, slinking carefully through the forest while hiding from anyone who might be looking for them. Geisen and Tarnan bonded while reading the stolen book that Tarnan had promised they wouldn't read, and drew some disturbing parallels to the slightly bitten book in Sinishi's keeping. Together, the books referred to an ancient rite which could grant godhood. Upon returning to Sandpoint, the group split up. Never split the party. Tarnan, Icky, and Geisen visited the White Deer Inn while Grelda and Sinishi returned the rented horses. Tarnan left the others to their drunken celebrations in order to meet with their employer/local gang leader Fenton, who immediately sent the stolen book away to be examined. Tarnan took this opportunity to engage in some criminal small talk, learning that the good neighbor's ultimate goal was to stop the Ascended from becoming a god. While Tarnan continued his kitchen conversation, Grelda and Sinishi returned the horses to Davrin Hosk, who was both pleased at the horse's condition and in a suspicious hurry to conclude this horsey business. Sinishi's curiosity piqued. She led Grelda on a stealth mission to follow the far too happy stable owner. Upon seeing him enter the Sandpoint lumber mill on the banks of the Tarandarok River, the pair of super sleuths spotted a sultry scarlet-haired woman sneaking in to meet Davrin. While Sinishi stood sentinel, Grelda went to inform the others. Today, the adventure continues.
So I just wanted to put in a quick little video before we got into the session proper for the 3 people who actually watch this channel. There were some technical difficulties with this whole remote D&D thing, and while the audio came through fairly well, the visuals are complete garbage. So if you want to stop here, I wouldn't blame you, but I still feel that it's important to put it up for posterity. So, happy watching. Or not.
Tarnan's drinking something a little stronger. But the general idea is, yes, everyone else is having beer. And Tarnan's is just sitting down with probably a bourbon. Assuming they have bourbon, Sean?
Yes. They had bourbon and whiskey because the last time you were here, when you first accepted the job, you were able to get some stronger stuff as well.
Exactly. Sitting down with a glass of bourbon and Greta got stuff. What's going on? Where's your other half?
She's being stealthy.
Is this a joke? Look, I know you like that kid, but it's not happening. It would put him in more danger for him to continue trying to train with me and thinking that he's actually being stealthy. I really don't think you should encourage him. Right now, he seems to be very well tolerated amongst his peers. Why are you trying to get Sinishi involved in this as well?
This was all Sinishi's idea. I know. She's watching someone quietly. She followed him quietly and chose of her own volition to do this.
I thought we promised not to lie to each other.
I tell you this because it's
quietly.
I'm telling you this because what I'm going to ask you to do doesn't really make any sense. I think we should go support her. We should leave the bar and go see whether or not her hunch was right, because the stable master is meeting someone. He brushed us off a little bit. He's very, very cheerful, and we saw a red-haired woman joining him, but we have no idea what they're meeting about. But Sinishi was so concerned that she actually formulated a plan and followed it.
Believe it or not, you had me at support Sinishi. But, I mean, don't let her know that. So, let's go.
Is anyone else interested in joining us?
I assume I was close enough to hear this. I was like, at the
You would
bar
have been right at the table with him. The only person, Geisen, would have been a little further away. So Geisen probably would have heard if you're talking in a normal voice, but if you're more of like whispering, I'm not sure Geisen would have been able to hear the conversation.
Were you talking in a normal voice?
I was talking in a normal voice. There was no whisper.
I heard it.
DM, I need a clarification. Is this a normal voice for normal people, or is this a normal voice for Grelda? Which is more like, hey, guess what?
So she was either talking in a normal person voice or basically yelling. One or the other.
She was not yelling, but she was definitely not attempting to be quiet either. The entire bar does not know what's happening, but people nearby do.
I can see that.
So Icky's like, but what about the free beer?
Bring it.
There's free beer?
All of
Yeah.
it?
Yeah. Just make sure to let her know. Well, bring the tankard and bring in a spare and drink it on the way, and I'll make sure that you get more later if that's what it comes down to. But we should probably go.
Is the free
Make
beer
sure.
all night?
I look over at the bartender. Can you hear this conversation?
From where you guys are, I would say he either can't hear or doesn't appear to be paying attention to you.
How long did the... I don't have my notes in front of me. How long was I told we had the free beer for?
Till midnight.
Son of a bitch. So like an hour anyway. Icky?
Do they have like kegs to go?
I can carry two.
Hold on.
Hey, Peanut.
Where is it?
Oh, come here, Peanut.
There seems to be a goblin attacking the dungeon master.
You know, I think that's a goblin I'll let live.
Okay, he does it. Hey, barkeep, how much for, well, no, it's free. I need a barrel to go.
Two barrels. I like pull up the fingers really desperately.
He kind of leans down and he goes, "Are you serious?"
Yeah.
He said to give you beer till midnight, but and he kind of looks over at the kitchen, looks back at you, and just kind of rolls his eyes and goes, "So hold on." And he walks into that storage area where Tarnit had passed through to go downstairs. You hear rustling around. You hear some very loud, naughty words, and then he comes back with two like pony kegs, like smaller, not full casks, but smaller ones on his shoulder. He walks over and he puts them down one at a time on the table and just looks at you, looks at everybody and says, "I think we'll count that as being till midnight." And then just turns around and walks away.
Icky is still looking at it, but
Icky, that one's for
like,
you, and this one's for everyone else.
Yeah, can we put a straw in one of them for Icky?
Straw.
He doesn't need a straw. In fact, we're going to use his beak to open it. Just have him press his nose up against it, and we're just going to pop him in the back of the head and pull the bung out, and there we go.
Oh, that makes sense. Like a bottle opener.
Yeah.
All right, so Grelda picks one up.
claw.
Okay.
If there's no objection, Grelda will pick one up.
And Icky's got the other one. Dyson, you ready?
Yep.
Turn in size, downs his bourbon, winces. All right, let's go. Lead on.
All right, we're going to the. Is it the watermill?
Hold on just a second. All right. Night, Peanut. Or not night, but bye. All right. Okay, so you each have your barrels, and you head out. It's probably a good 10-minute walk from where you are back to the sawmill.
I caution everyone to at least be a little bit quiet so that if Shinichi is still being sneaky, we don't ruin it.
Yeah.
So, Shinichi, during this time, have you just been staying where you were, or were you doing anything during this? Because all told, I would say 10-minute walk there, 5-10 minutes of talking and conversation, getting the beer, and then 10-minute walk back. So you would have been about a half hour by yourself.
Oh god, yeah, no, I get kind of bored. And after about
3 minutes?
I know soldiers have, patrol patience. You have to. Being bored is part of it. So, after 10 minutes, I'm gonna get bored and go try to sneak up and peek in a window again.
All right. You would be crossing the street again. I believe you're. Give me a stealth check.
Oh shit! Oh, that's what I don't have up. I don't have any of my personal information up. Hold on. That is. I'll give you a stealth check as soon as I have all my stuff.
Your stealth is a +1.
Thank you. Where am I? Characters. Ha! 10.
10?
Yeah, super stealthy.
Alright, so you've actually been in the shadows, like, blending in pretty well. Not many people around at this time of night, but I mean, you've seen one kind of, like, walk on the opposite side. You've had a couple of Crown's Guard come around on a patrol that you managed to not really notice you. But then as soon as you step out of the shadows, you end up kicking over, like, a small crate. And it just, like, knocks and rolls, and you just look down at it and just shrug and keep walking across. Alright, so you said you're gonna look inside?
Yeah, peek in a window again.
Alright, give me a perception check then.
Alright. Ah!
Yeah, you.
That's a 17 plus 1. Yeah, it would be an 18.
An 18? Alright, so you manage to... You look inside. Again, it's mostly open. There's a couple of crates here and there. And then you see some stacks of cut lumber... Excuse me, stacks of uncut lumber. But it's a mostly open area. And at first, you see nothing. Like, you're peeking around and it looks like they're gone. But you do manage... Once your eyes adjust a little bit, you manage to see a couple small stacks of clothes. And then from behind one of the cut stacks of lumber, you see 2 sets of feet. Horizontal, and both sets of feet are moving.
Oh my. Oh my, indeed. Okay.
Okay, now that's Joe's reaction, but what's Sinishi's reaction?
Okay. She's still there.
Okay. So it would have been, I would say this would have happened about 15 minutes in, so you still got about 15 minutes before anybody gets there. So what are you gonna do for that 15 minutes now that you have seen what you have seen?
Seeing they're still there, I'm gonna probably go back to the road and go hold position again.
Back across the road to where you were?
Yeah, because I had a good viewpoint of all exits, unless if there was, a secret exit we did not know about.
All right, then you take a peek inside, turn around, you walk back across. You manage to just kind of go back into that shadowy area, leaning back against the wall, and about 15 minutes later, the rest of you walk up.
So where is she? Oh, there she is. Stealthily. Yep. Yep.
Hey guys.
Ah, you shocked me. I didn't see you standing there in the shadows.
I know I'm really good at hiding. Apparently, who knew I had this skill, right? Like, talented.
Quite amazing.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So has anything...
Well, I did go up. I looked in a window. It looks like that they have... changed clothes and are taking a nap together.
Okay.
Or they got tied up.
So why are we here again?
Something. It was suspicious behavior that seemed out of place. Dude is always very chatty. He didn't stop to chat. He rushed us out, which he doesn't do. No stories, no tales. It's very bizarre. I didn't think these looked like my dice, and they rolled way too well for me. It didn't feel right. I wanted to make sure he was okay because I like him and not into anything shady. So
what you're saying is he's with somebody and he's taking a nap. Are you still concerned? Do we need to go check on this? Or are you comfortable now that you've had some time to look at we can let this go?
I mean, I'm not
Your take
very...
on all this?
What was that?
I was asking Grelda what her take on the situation is.
I also noticed that he was behaving oddly, but he seemed happy. He didn't seem like he was being pressured or uncomfortable. He just seemed like he was in a hurry. I didn't like the look of the lady he was meeting with. She was very tall and quite ugly. Her hair was a lovely shade of red, but that was really all she had going for her. I've never seen her before, and she was wearing a cloak, which is very suspicious because it's not raining. So I also had to be held to look into the window, and I didn't appreciate that. Sorry.
And you still didn't see anything?
I was unable to see any suspicious behavior, no. But he is our friend, and if he is in trouble, and Sinishi does have good instincts, and I did trust her, and I still think it's better to check than to not check. But if he's in trouble, I was going to be there for him.
I just don't know why he wouldn't tell us what was going on, why he was meeting somebody in the middle of the night, sneaking away to do so. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't feel right. I don't like it.
How close are you with this gentleman?
Well, Grella introduced us.
We've exchanged beer, so he's probably my closest friend in this city.
Close enough that you would expect him to tell you about a nighttime encounter with an elderly woman?
Close enough that I was surprised he didn't stop to groom the horses after we returned them. He was in that spirit.
He loves his horses, and he didn't take care of them.
Sean, about this time, Tony is starting to quietly walk away to go take a look while they discuss how important it is for him to go take a look.
All right. Give me a perception check.
You want me to do roll 20 or just roll the dice?
Just roll the dice. I found that roll 20 is... I'm not a fan of its dice roller. And I trust you guys, so...
Can I choose to do roll 20?
No. Especially not with that reaction.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Alright, hang on. 5 plus what? 5 plus... Did you say reaction?
Perception.
Perception. A 9.
A 9?
Yeah.
All right, so you look inside and you stay there for a few minutes, and at first you are almost to the point where you think Sinishi and Grelda have just been lying to you because you cannot see anything out of the ordinary inside of this room. Finally, at the end, you are able to see a couple of, like, you can notice like the piles of clothes. You aren't able to see the feet she's talking about, but you do see a couple of piles of clothes a ways in, just like haphazardly thrown on the ground.
Can I make like an insight check to figure out what's going on?
No. It's not how it works. It's not how insight works.
Is this the bridge of our campaign, John?
Okay, I don't know.
Okay, so all I see is clothes. I don't see any people.
No. You don't see the feet that she was talking about.
Do I see a way into this room?
There's a single door directly like on the side that you're on, and then there's a set of bigger double doors where people can bring in lumber on the side that you walked up to.
And from my vantage point in the window, which one looks easiest to get in and go into the shadows?
Probably the single door that's on the wall you're on.
All right, I go to the single door.
Okay.
I check, is it locked?
No.
All right, I walk in quietly, stealthily. You want me to stealth roll?
Give me a stealth check.
How do you know?
Hold on, first I'm going to throw this dice away.
Let's see what this is.
Where's my pluses? Stealth. 18 modified.
18? Oh wait, you managed, you pull the door, it opens outwards, so you manage to pull it enough to slide in, and then close it most of the way behind you, and not a sound has been made.
Okay. Now, step into the nearest shadows.
Okay. There is no light inside of here, so it is very easy to do.
Look and listen. Do I see people? Do I hear people?
Give me another perception check now that you're inside.
Really? Let's go with this dice. Hey, that's a little better. 15 and 4, 19.
19? All right, so as you move into the shadows, you look around, you see the piles of clothing, and you can see a man's set of pants, socks, shoes, a half-decent shirt, and beside that you can see stockings and a dress. And you see a pair of feet, male and female, kind of poking out from behind one of the stacks of lumber. And you hear soft giggling, we'll go with. You hear soft Scottish giggling. No.
So I can tell it's giggling and not some type of pain.
Somebody's having dinner.
You can definitely tell that nobody is suffering right now.
I can tell what's going on. Yes.
Yes.
Avoiding sighing out loud, Tarnan walks back outside to find his friend.
We'll keep the same stealth roll, so you're able to reclose the door almost completely silently.
Walks up to Shinichi, who is taller than him, so he looks up at her and says, "Are you mad at him or something? Are you trying to ruin an evening as he's being busy with a female? Intimates with a female? What's the issue?"
What? What are you...
He's having relations with a woman.
Oh!
Are the two of you, I mean...
Oh, I've told you. I like my men tall. No! No! Ew! No!
But hey,
It just didn't...
clearly he was sneaking you around, and he wasn't in a hurry, and he probably wasn't... You probably seemed agitated that you were bothering him. I can understand where you might have come to some other conclusion and thought perhaps there was a different type of duress going on. Shall we just let this go?
I was just concerned for my friend.
You were concerned for your friend. You just, at this occasion, you just read it wrong. You know, not even wrong. You read it a different way. He was definitely distracted. He was definitely thinking about something else. He was definitely in a hurry to go somewhere. Just not, where you thought.
Grelda reaches over and pats See if I can pat Sanishi on the back. Your heart was in the right place, lass.
Well, I'm glad he's okay, although I'm still... What kind of woman wouldn't wait until he had taken care of the horses?
A terrible, ugly one. She had no beard at all.
Icky is just so glad that he's got this barrel.
I can see Icky like standing there back and forth through the conversation, just like dumping more into his mug, just like drinking the whole conversation.
That's like something I was wondering about while Tarnin was doing his whole thing, is like how sneakily he did that. Because if he just like kind of left, Icky probably would have noticed. And so he like this whole time he's just like, yeah, just drinking, wondering, wow, you normal landers are so quaint.
You sound like
Yeah, so does Grelda have a beard?
She's
She's
growing
got some
one.
really nice pork chops.
She's got chops. She's still
Okay.
very young, but she's working on it.
I'm hoping it never comes in. The chops are good, but the rest, I don't know.
You don't know what you're missing, all right?
Yeah, it's great fertility and amazingness. Don't you know?
No, really, I don't. Haven't had an opportunity to explore dwarven females much.
You're missing
Just
out.
give a remote.
So should we head back to
Maybe we
the
should
bar?
go to the. Say again?
Should we head back to the tavern?
Which one?
We have all the beer they're going to give us already.
Dragon.
We want
Rusty
it?
Dragon's close.
I mean, isn't there a closer tavern?
Rusty Dragon's right next to us now.
Yeah, let's just go to the Rusty Dragon.
And that is where your rooms are.
That is where
So-
I'm going.
Party in Grilda's room, and I like lift the barrel.
About midnight, right?
It's probably like 11:30, 11:45-ish. Yeah, it's getting really close.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
All right. Dyson, you got anything else going on before we call it a night?
I don't think so. I'm set for going there.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
All right, so everybody heads back to the Rusty Dragon. Are you gonna stay downstairs, or is everybody going up to the party rooms?
Well, we were invited.
Yeah, no, I'm just want to know what everybody's doing. All right, so
I'm just gonna go to my room because A, I don't party very much, and B, I'm still feeling a little uneasy about who this woman is that took my friend away from caring for his horses. Yeah, just
Are the rooms big enough for all of us to hang out in comfortably?
they're big enough for all of you to be in. Like, you'd all be able to have a place to sit. You're not all going to be able to sleep comfortably in a single one of these rooms. So, I mean, it would have like think of like a full bed, and then like a chair and a little desk, like a little table. Like, you could all hang out in there for a little while, and you wouldn't be on top of each other. But nobody's going to be having 6 people in there isn't going to be super comfy.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll go in.
Well, it should only be 4 of us.
Oh, it will be
because
4,
Jill's not
yep.
joining.
Yep.
So I mean, like I said, you guys could be in there for a little bit comfortably, but you all aren't going to be able to sleep in there comfortably.
You're not invited to sleep in here.
Okay, so how long do you, since it's about midnight by the time you get up to your rooms, how long would you like to spend enjoying your free alcohol before you go to sleep?
Tarn's gonna grab Grelda by the elbow and say, not Fenton. What the heck was the other guy's name? The one who gave her the hair products.
Diranor, yep.
Diranor
was the hair product, Fennec was the other
very
one.
upset that you haven't used the hair product yet. I thought I'd just let you know. When I was talking to him, he looked kind of heartbroken. I promised him that I would at least pass on that he would really like to see how much you liked it if you would just go ahead and use it today or tomorrow morning. And having said that, feel free to use it or not as you choose, but he looked, upset.
Trying to imagine. I'm probably still covered in road gore because we went and did stuff. We beat some people up, and then we trekked through the forest, and really just immediately went to the bar.
The probably smells really good in here too.
Yeah,
I bet.
It smelled great.
I bet.
So I thank him for telling me, and my plan is to take one tomorrow morning. And I would have probably, the way that Grelda said it, she made it very clear that she's looking at the beer when making this decision.
Okay, well, I just wanted to pass along the message. Speaking of passing, I'm going to pass along the beer to you guys. I do have a bottle that I'm going to take a sip of and retire for the evening. But I do thank you for the invitation. And everyone have a good night. I'll see you in the morning. And Charlie will actually go to his room and actually shut the door and clean up and rest for the evening.
Okay.
I'm going to engage in a drinking game with Icky and Geisen.
Icky's game for this game.
All right. In that case, I need Constitution saving throws from both of you.
I'm drinking, but I'm just gonna spectate on their game.
Okay.
Oh God, no wonder this looks weird. Apparently, I'm still signed in at you were the last person to use D&D Beyond on this computer. 2 sessions ago that we went to Sean's.
So
your Constitution saving throw, Icky, is +4.
Thank you. I just finished logging in. But...
So it looks as well. I'm not going to spoil it. I'll let Nate give his number first.
Oh, 23.
My Constitution saving throw is +8.
Oh,
whoa!
So I have 26.
26.
Wow.
Oh, wait,
Is that
Grell.
right? Yeah.
26. You both actually make it for the better part of an hour in this particular drinking game before Icky finally takes the last one and starts laughing because he thinks he's going to win, and then he just falls over.
I give him a blanket. He wasn't invited to stay the night, but he was a good opponent. This was the best drinking I've had in months.
I decided this was a good time for me to leave.
Icky will no doubt be in the morning.
All right, so we'll say about 1:30 is when the last of you go to sleep. So everybody takes a normal rest. Everybody's gonna wake up around 8:39ish, fully rested.
I'm gonna go down and have a bath.
Well, the baths would be upstairs on the second floor, so you can have one there before you go down.
I will do that then.
What? There are bathing rooms, actual bath rooms upstairs.
Is it a communal bath or is it a...
there's larger ones, but there's also individual ones that you can pay for.
Okay.
Girl has no shame. She pays for nothing.
What was the owner's name again?
Amiko Kajitsu?
Amiko. I will get up early enough that the rest of the group was probably still asleep. Probably, I don't know. Depends on how early they want to get up. And they will hunt her down and see how her wounds are going.
All right. You first would go to her room upstairs that you had been to before. You would see that you would knock, not get a response, head downstairs, and you would actually see her slowly walking around from behind the bar into the kitchen and then back. Like, she's still moving. It's been a few days, so she's moving around, but she's still... You can tell she's still healing.
I'll say hi. Good morning, Amiko. How are you feeling today?
Her arm is still in a sling, and you can still see the bandages. Like, you can see where her clothes are bulked out a little bit from the bandages around her midsection. And then she just stops and leans forward on the bar. Well, I haven't seen you guys around for a few days. I was wondering what happened to you.
Business. Picked up a little bit of work.
I didn't figure adventurers like yourself would be sitting around here bored for too long.
No. I mean, don't get us wrong. We like this. This is kind of becoming home, if you don't mind.
As long as you continue to share tales of whatever funness you get up to with my patrons to keep us all entertained, you're welcome to stay here as long as you like.
I think we'll leave this last job out for the benefit and safety of the general public. Fair?
I'm sorry, I just remembered the way that Sinishi told our tale to Davarin.
It was a quality retelling, extremely boring. Alright, so then Amiko just, well, it's your call what you do and don't share, of course. Is it just
to make sure that her nursemaid, I can't remember her name either.
The Youper?
Yep, the Youper is, oh man, it's been a Bathana.
Yes, making sure Bathana is out of sight.
You can hear like dishes and stuff rattling in the kitchen, and you can just like faintly hear some Youper mumbling. Oh my goodness, this is... And then you just like, you hear like banging of pots, and then you hear like angry just mumbles, and then more banging of pots.
So before anyone has a chance to interrupt, I look at her and say, where does it hurt the worst right now? And may I lay hands on it?
Okay. So you ask her where it hurt. Are you waiting for her to respond, or are you just going to lay hands on?
I ask, and I wait.
Okay. She kind of just touches her rib. Well, this is healing a little slower than I would like, but it's going in the right direction.
Mind if I take a look?
I'm not going to say no after what you did last time.
And it's still between us, yes?
Always.
I appreciate that. He puts his hand on the assumed broken rib, and we'll dump the cure wounds into it this time.
Okay, how much would that be for it?
28 plus 4. 1 second, please. Plus 4 is 9.
9? Okay. You can see just a little bit of light from where the arcane energy is, and then she just shivers, and then just kind of leans back. That is much appreciated. Thank you.
I figure it's the least I can do considering your continuing patience and patronage of us.
Well, that is more of a repayment for what you all did during the Goblin Raid and since then. So,
okay.
Thank you.
That's fair. So, would it buy me a private bath then?
She just laughed. I figured there was something else. Sure. Yes. You can have a private bath on the house this one time. Of course.
That's where I'll be.
Okay. Alright, so you're taking a bath. Since you went to bed before everybody else, I would say you're getting done with your bath right about the time that everybody else is starting to get up. So you're finishing up, Grelda is starting hers, everybody else is getting up. So what is...
Since I went to bed early, I also got up an hour early and went to the public bath and started, scrubbing the dry blood and grime off myself from all my failed attempts at taking an actual blood bath.
Someday.
One of these days I will actually get one, but until then, I will do the world a favor and take a real bath.
All right. Icky, you wake up with just a raging headache, right about the same time Grelda does.
Yeah.
And then, Geisen, you wake up around the same time, but you're feeling fantastic. You just got to watch.
I use prestidigitation to just clean up myself without thinking about it.
You just you look over your dirty clothes, you cast the spell, and you just watch as your clothes it's like an invisible line that just goes down, and your clothes go from dirty to clean, and then there's just a little pile of like dirty dust on the floor at your feet.
Cool. And then I'll head down to the common area to the fireplace.
Okay. At this time, there's a couple of patrons. Because I would say you got up around, this would be about 9-ish when you came down, 9:30. So there's 2 patrons at the actual bar, and then there are 2 of the tables are occupied. One has an older couple, an elderly couple, I should say, eating, and another one looks to be a mid-20s farmhand that he just trying to, you can see he's eating very quickly. And then the fire is going. It's low, but it is going, and there's a couple of chairs in front of it.
Okay, I'll have a seat.
Okay. So then if everybody else is going to end up going down, I would say done with baths and everything, in the 9:45 to 10 range, everybody would end up down in the main floor.
I would say I'm probably the last person who's going to show up because I'm very carefully going to follow the instructions I was given with regard to the hair product.
All right. As you get done, you do notice your hair is very smooth. You don't immediately see any like brand new difference, but your hair, and especially like your facial hair, your chops, you notice that it is smoother than your growing beard has ever been.
See, that's fabulous. I braid it, just, decoratively.
Of course. All right, so Lars, I would say all told, last night and tonight, it's been about 2 hours. So that I would say about a day and a half.
Okay.
All right, so then everybody kind of meets downstairs, and you all see each other coming.
Vicky kind of like flaps his claw at people and makes his way towards the seat. Just kind of thumbs down.
Morning, friends! Everybody ready to go goblin hunting today?
Oh yeah, you were gonna do that, weren't you?
Yes, we are!
Seems like a good day
They're
for
not alone. I said I would take you. If they don't want to go, they don't have to. But I'm definitely going to because I promised.
But it'll be so much more fun with everybody.
Well, I agree, but I'm not gonna. If they don't want to go, you and I are still gonna go. Fair?
Yes, but you guys want to come with too, right?
I'm coming.
I just love how I picture in my head this very, very tall and burly half-orc girl speaking with that high voice because she thinks she's going to have to go goblin hunting by herself.
Or at least just not with all of her friends.
Yeah.
Some of them are going to have, like if some of them stay behind, it's going to be heartbreaking.
Oh, we're friends now? Because like a day ago, you wanted to kill me. Well, maybe that was 2 days ago.
That's what friendship with a half-orc is.
Noticed how moody Sanishi is?
What? No. What?
Kind of part of the cold thing here.
Do you have the right character?
All right, so as everybody is sitting down, the young man who works there, not Bathana or Amiko, but the other young man that you've seen working there, he ends up coming out with a couple of plates of food, bacon, sausage, ham. Just puts them in front of you. This was on the house. I was instructed to bring this out. And then he looks back, and you see Bathana like peeking her head out, like watching him as he sets it down. And then she just goes, and then turns around and comes back. Yes. So please eat everything, please. Thank you. And then he turns around and walks away.
Geraldo begins to eat everything.
He follows it up quickly with water for everybody as well.
As he's walking back, then, you would also go really with a bit of cheese and a hunk of bread. We really round out this meal nicely, don't you think?
Yes. And then, as you're saying, like, you make that request, you see Bathana's head peek out. Oh my goodness, are you telling me you didn't bring him the cheese? Oh, are you worthless? Get your butt back here. And then she points, and like on the counter, there's a little like plate of cheese, and she like points at it and slams her fist down, and then turns around and goes back. Oh. So he runs back, he grabs it, he comes out. Okay, meat, cheese, water. Is there anything else? Anything?
Do you have an apple? I'm craving a little bit of. Yeah, an apple would be good.
All right. And then he runs into the kitchen and comes back and puts a green apple down. You good?
Hold on. Where he's gone? As soon as he leaves, quick, what else can I ask? What else can I ask for?
Such a jerk, Captain. Leave the kid alone.
I'm gonna make it worth his while, but what else can I ask for? Come on, give me something hard, but possible.
Some beers for breakfast.
Okay.
It's not hard.
Okay. Because he's moving quick. So as you're having this conversation, he ends up coming back, and he sets the apple down in front of you.
I have a hankering for some blood pie.
Ooh.
I know we don't have that now. Maybe for dinner or lunch. Maybe. I know it's not really something we make for breakfast.
Morning, isn't that right, Sushi? In the morning is best.
Well, yeah, it is best. Like the good Orcish blood pie is really it's a
beer, ale, something we can do that works for now. Blood pie, lunch maybe, please.
Do you have any black pudding?
Ooh, I've heard about those.
That's more of a dinner dish, not really something we make for breakfast.
Do you have any eggs?
Yes, eggs. Thank you. Okay, I'll be right back. And then he turns around and like scuttles back. A couple minutes later, scuttles back out. They're basically hard-boiled eggs. He sets them down. Eggs. There's 4. And then he goes, everybody loves to eat eggs. And then he stops and he looks at Icky. And then he just starts to back up. Let me know if you need anything. And then he goes back.
Hey.
Yeah.
Come back here.
Oh, yes. What is there something else I can
pick up the green apple? Do you have a red one?
Let me check. And he slowly reaches towards, takes the apple. Let me check. And he runs back. A couple minutes later, comes back out with 2 red apples. There's a very dark red one, and then there's a lighter red one. I wasn't sure which shade. Do you like the more tart, or do you like the sweet?
The dark one's great.
There you go. Does anybody want this one? Anybody? No?
I do. I do. The dark one is a foolish mistake. You're gonna regret that later.
Okay, so we're good?
Oh, but you dropped this, and using sleight of hand, I'll make it look like I picked up a gold coin off the ground.
Okay.
And I'll make the damn roll. So 17. 17?
Then this is like super quality street magician. You just come out and boom, it just comes up out of nowhere. And he just looks at it. Oh, believe me, I'd know if I dropped a gold, but thank you.
Don't you call me a liar?
No. He looks back at the kitchen. No.
This is yours. Take it. Take it.
Thank you.
Breakfast in a fight, y'all.
All right. And he's backing up as he's like, thank you. And he's looking back and forth. Thank you. And then he just turns around and goes.
Can we subtitle this episode Sanishi's Big Day? Because it seems like
Oh, yep. Done and done.
All right, so everybody is sitting there eating your breakfast. And as you're eating, you hear the door swing open very loudly. And you see Sheriff Hemlock step in, look around, eye up your table, and very quickly, with purpose, walk over to the table.
Before he gets there, this can't be good.
As long as there's goblins in it, I'm fine.
No, I know.
He puts his hand down, looks around. Again, there's only like 5 other people in here. Geisen, are you still at the fire or by the fireplace, or have you come back during this?
I'm at the table.
Okay. All right. Puts his hands down, leans in. I'm glad I found you. I hate to impose.
How about some bread?
Perhaps another
Get you an
time.
apple.
Would you come with me? I require your assistance. All of you, if you would.
Can we have 2 minutes to finish our breakfast? I mean, we really gave this guy a hard time. It would be really weird if we didn't finish it.
We can wait a couple of minutes, but
Geralda's like furiously shoveling like sausage and stuff.
No. No.
Armin keeps the apple for himself, takes a big bite of bread and a big bite of cheese, slams the water and says, okay.
No, we can't go with the sheriff. We're going goblin hunting.
How do you know it's not goblins attacking again?
Because he would have led with that.
No, he wouldn't.
Yes, he would
You
have.
don't know this guy?
I cause a panic.
He knows me.
True, but he's also sitting right here. If he wanted to tell us with goblins, he'd just tell us, right? Right, Sheriff?
I didn't want to interrupt your conversation, but I'm sorry to say there are no goblins. Well, most likely aren't any goblins involved.
See? Potential goblins.
Yeah, see, you've been giving me the most likely no goblins involved, and there haven't been any goblins. That's why we're spending today together as a group, bonding and goblin hunting. You promised.
Right, I did. So,
Game night.
Sanishi, I will leave this call to your decision, but hear me out. Let's hear what he has to say, and if it is less important than goblin hunting, or more important to save somebody's life, you'll make the call.
Goblin hunting saves all the lives.
Not if something else is currently killing somebody right now.
Goblins are killing somebody right now.
So you're going to want to hear what this man has to say.
Well, hear him out, but then we're going to go hunt goblins.
Lead on, Sheriff.
Well, and he kind of looks around, just trying to... He sees, like, everybody's kind of either looking directly at your table or, like, kind of, like, trying not to look like they're looking, so he kind of leans down. It's something I need to show you. It's not far. It's... And then he leans down. There's...
Lead on.
Thank you. And I would appreciate it if all of you would come. And he looks at Icky, especially you. And then he gets up and walks towards the door.
He must need some beer drink.
If you simultaneously perks up and shudders a little.
Wait,
Something first.
I gotta see if my perception notices that he actually shuddered. No, dang it.
It's very obvious, like, the feathers puff up and you see his whole beak just... Alright, so the sheriff is currently waiting at the door for you.
Geralda shovels the few last bits of food she can into a bag, and then gets up to leave.
Yeah, Icky shovels as much as he can stomach into his beak and gets up to go.
Sanishi grumbles. She's incoherently about wanting to kill goblins. Gets up and it's ready to go anyway.
I head up too.
Okay. I was going to say, is anybody not going?
He's following Shinichi, munching on the apples, following from ear to ear.
Alright, so as everybody gets up, the sheriff opens the door, leads everybody out, and then kind of comes out of the Rusty Dragon, takes a left, turns around. It's not far. It's just at the banks of the Tarandrock. And he turns around, and as everybody, like, he makes sure everybody's in a small group, and he says, I know I hate to ask more of you with all you've already done for Sandpoint, but there's been a murder. Well, murders. And this is something that might be out of our Crown's Guard's depths. And then he leads you down and around, and as everybody's walking, you turn the corner, and you turn another corner, and at the sawmill, you see outside there are 2 Crown's Guards outside of each of the sets of doors. And they look up at you, but their heads are kind of down, and they have very serious looks on their face. And then he leads you up to the single door that Tarnin went in, and he stops, and he's, I should warn you before you go in, it's not pretty.
I told you guys something more was going on in here. I told you that woman was... It's the Horsedorf, isn't it?
How? It kind of looks at all of you. I think I need some explanation.
The Horsedorf he was super short and weird and didn't, take care of the horses last night when we dropped him off, even though he normally does, and he didn't stop to talk with us, which, again, he normally does. He has the best stories, and he hates goblins, and it's wonderful, and I love talking to him, because we have so much in common, because goblins are the worst, But he was super short, and he just, stopped everything and just, shoot us out and didn't curry the horses. Oh my god, curry, that's the word for taking care of the horses. Ha! Right! I'm learning things.
Okay, not to stop your rant. Davrin's a human, just so you know. Sorry.
Okay.
I didn't want to stop in the middle of your rant to correct you, but Davrin's a human, not a dwarf. Just so you know.
Oh, Davrin's a human?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Why was I thinking he's... Oh, because he's Grelda's friend. I'm sorry. I'm being... racist.
We all have the same view?
You're short. I don't know.
So the sheriff kind of steps up to you. Again, a very serious look on his face. You were here last night?
Yes.
Yeah,
We
Mr. Runelords described the lady he was having intimate relations with last night.
I saw her. Grala and I saw her. She was wearing a cloak, and she had red hair, and, she was kind of short.
Yes, that was Katrine Vinder. I've heard rumors that Katrine had been meeting Davrin at the sawmill at night for reasons that apparently you've already guessed.
Yeah, guess.
But
I wish it was only a guess.
the one there...
It didn't seem right.
Well, unfortunately, they're both in there. What's left of them. They were discovered late last night, early this morning, and by my nephew actually, and he brought it to my attention, and I haven't been able to get anything out of him because he's still so shook, and I wanted to warn you before you went inside because it's not pretty. But I specifically called out your group because it appears at least one of you is already known by whoever did this. And then he takes a slip of paper out of his pocket, and it's a piece of parchment that's bent in half, and on the outside of it, written in blood, is Icky. And it's folded, and he holds it up, and he says, "This was attached to Davrin's leg by a piece of wood." And then he hands it to Icky. And
Now, is it spelled I?
there you go. Everybody should be able to see that. It's IKKI.
Whoa.
So he just kind of looks at you and says,
Is it
"So
spelled right, or is it spelled? I am. What?
He looks at you and says, "So you can see why I wanted to talk to you."
Right. This was on his leg?
It was stabbed into his leg with a small piece of wood. I normally don't say this during murder investigations, but I can't rule anything out, but I don't particularly suspect your group, but it's obvious that whoever did this knows you, or of you.
Well, everybody knows of us. I mean, we're awesome. And we have to make sure everyone knows of us.
Is that what she's doing? Is that what she's doing?
What?
Charlie leans over to Geisen and says, "Is that why she's so loud? That's why she's so loud, isn't it?"
You might be onto something.
So,
yeah, but as you can tell, this poor man's murder has nothing to do with us, and clearly we don't have time to investigate it. We have to get on the job immediately. I guess we want to track down the slayer of and feed him to the goblins.
Okay, first of all, no. Goblins don't get food. That's silly. Just silly, and you should know better, Captain. This is not a silly matter.
So we're not going to hunt the guy down? Or this individual?
I need to think about this.
Sinichi, let me say something to you. You can slaughter goblins. We already know this. Look at us. Look at our faces as we look back at you. We know you can kill goblins. It might be a little more important because your friend is lying in there.
I know. This is hard. I don't know what to do.
I stand by my promise to you. If you choose to put this off, then I will go with you and the other three can look into this murder without us. But I would prefer us to stick together. And I'm asking you, which way do you want to try to go? Good girl.
We're gonna get back killing goblins, though.
I have no doubt. But if this is more pressing,
I knew something was wrong.
yeah, if your friend being murdered is more important, then you should definitely check this out. If I hadn't already promised you to go hunting goblins, I'd say this is what we're doing. But I need you to release me from that promise long enough to find out what happened here.
Yeah, I mean, you're right.
Hey, sometimes
Figure
we
this
work
out.
So while they're having that discussion, I ask Icky if I can see the paper.
Please. If there's anything you can find out about this, please.
And I would like to see if I can find anything out about this.
All right, give me an investigation check.
What about a finding out things about this check?
That is the seventh skill. There's strength, intelligence, wisdom, charisma, constitution, and finding things out about this shit.
Alright, I think I know it's a piece of paper. I got a 9.
A 9? You can tell that it is, especially since you deal as a wizard, you deal with parchment on a regular basis. This is very expensive parchment. Like this is not just like cheap paper. This is high quality parchment paper. It was written in ink, the words on the inside, and it was like there is blood splattered on it, but the name Icky on the outside was written in blood.
Okay. Out of character, this kind of time period or whatever, would most people be able to write? or would it mostly be like
In this area, I'd say probably about 60 to 70% would be literate in some fashion.
and from I don't know, all the reading that I've done and everything, like the way that this is written, like the handwriting and the words used or whatever, would that give me any indication of
Bless you.
what would be I don't know, somebody more educated or not?
It's very like erratic writing. I would almost describe it as like it's crazed, jagged. It's definitely not like flowing, well-written script. And it's not necessarily the handwriting of somebody who is illiterate or can't write. It was very hastily scrawled on there. So it doesn't really give you a detail into the education of the person who wrote it.
Okay.
So I know I'm asking a lot. And he kind of looks around. If you will help me figure out who did this, it would be appreciated if we could keep this quiet. I don't believe Sergeant-at-Arms Dunhall would appreciate me bringing in non-crowned guard for something of this sort.
Well, that makes sense. They're probably the ones who did it.
I would have my doubts on that, but I'm not ruling anything out at this point.
They're the new element in town.
That's a good point, actually.
Can we take a look at the crime scene?
Yes. Again, I must warn you, it's not a pretty sight in there. And then he walks up, kind of opens the door, and he gestures you inside.
And
Yeah, Diggy heads in.
Go in.
All right.
Yep.
On that, I'm gonna take 5 really quick. Go. All right. So the sheriff holds open the door for you. Like he opens the door, makes sure it stays open, and then he kind of steps in and allows you to follow. What order are you gonna be entering in? Just so I know.
Ryan goes in first, and this is his reaction.
Nikki is close behind him, seeing as he got a murder note with his name on it.
I'm going in pretty quickly, too. This is, kind of my thing from last night.
Okay.
Grelda is in the rear, and she has not only not said anything, but like her face is just completely deadpan, and her hand has not left Sasha.
All right. So as you enter, before you even see anything, the first thing that really hits you is the smell, and it smells like rotten meat gone bad, but like really old rotten meat gone bad. Like it smells wrong. All of you have been around dead bodies before, and it just smells far worse than even like a few day old dead body would smell. As you step inside, yes.
Worse than Shinichi?
Yes.
After her blood vessels.
Significantly, actually.
Is this what human sex smells like?
If it's done wrong, apparently so.
So as you step in and actually are able to see what's inside of it, you see that there is the mill interior is the floor is coated with sawdust, as you would expect, but there has been a lot of movement in the sawdust, so you can see footprints and a lot of dragging. And you step inside and there's blood splattered everywhere. On the far wall, you can see a man actually pinned up to the wall with his arms out, using hooks that would normally be used to pick up the wood. He has been like pinned to the wall. Then you see blood splattered by that chute that Shinichi saw that goes down where the log splitter is. See a bit of blood there, and there is an axe, a small hand axe embedded in the floor at the top of that.
I don't know why you didn't want Olivia in here for this.
I know, right? So the sheriff just puts his hand out. As you can see, this isn't the normal type of thing Sandpoint sees.
Does the hand axe look better than the hand axes I'm using?
Your heart's in the right place. No, actually, I mean, it looks like just a woodcutter's, a utilitarian hand axe. And it's like the head is embedded in the floor and the handle's kind of sticking up.
Can I tell by the footprints how many were there? Can I tell, were they bigger than Shinichi?
Give me a survival check. And either somebody can help him or somebody else can also roll. If you want to, if your character would be looking at the floor for that.
He totally helps.
Oh, I got a bit of survival.
Okay, well, yeah.
Actually, anybody's character who would be like looking at the floor to try and figure out what they could pull from it, I'll actually let anybody roll for this
I
one.
think Tyson would.
So everybody, if everybody whose character would be trying to figure this out, can give me a survival check.
So I rolled a 20.
Oh wow!
My modifier is a 5.
I rolled a 19 and I have no modifier. So.
I also rolled a 20. My modifier is +4.
Jesus.
And I have a 6. I think they're footprints, and I think it might be sawdust.
Tarnin?
I think the victim has a 6 too.
Tarnin, what did Tarnin get? I didn't hear.
19.
19? All right. So actually, okay. So I guess I'll do Geisen first because everybody else rolled really high. As Geisen's kind of looking around just at the footprints on the floor, like you can tell that there are footprints. That's about all you can tell. Like this isn't like stuff being like this isn't wood being dragged. Like these are actual footprints. But that's about all Geisen can get out of it. Everybody else actually, like yeah, all 4 of you actually exceeded what you needed. You can like looking at the footprints and the way they're laid out, you can tell that there was like a desperate struggle, and you can tell that these are only a few hours old. You can tell that there are 3 sets of footprints, and you can tell that one set of footprints in particular is not only barefoot, but as you get down closer, like each of you in different spots, like almost at the same time, you all kind of get down to look at these bare footprints, and you can tell that these footprints, as opposed to the other ones, these ones in particular, they reek of rotten meat. They're barefoot and they reek of rotten meat. And actually, as you're looking around at this, you can like where the hand axe is embedded in the floor. You can tell that the hand axe itself as well also has this particular reeking of rotten meat smell.
So there was a bear in here that's been in the garbage.
Don't know that
Yeah, he was just a giant raccoon.
Or Night of the Living Dead.
Sean, Tarnin's gonna cast Detect Magic.
You don't notice anything other than what your party members have.
So I'm blind when I look at them. Got it.
Are there any animals nearby? Birds? Anything like that? Like up in the rafters?
No. It is eerily quiet inside of here.
What size are the boot prints? Not the bare footprints, but the boot prints.
I would say about your size.
Would you say they're about deputy nephew size?
They're about what?
Deputy nephew size? The guy who found the crime scene?
No, actually, there's a pair of man-sized boot prints. Like I said, they're about the same size as yours, Tarnin. There's a set of smaller prints, and then there's the barefoot prints, and that's it.
And how many bears does it look like there were?
Well, the bear just had 1 foot. That's why it's a bare foot print.
Otherwise, it would be footprints.
So we've got the horse guy up, spread eagle.
Like across the mill against the wall.
The woman.
Are you saying this out loud? Like in character?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. The sheriff kind of walks over to where the chute going down to the log splitter is, and he kind of waves his hand. At least she didn't suffer the same fate as he did. It looks like she died quickly. And as you go over and you look down, you see that Katrine's body is split. And it's obvious that she was, her mangled body is at the bottom. She was pushed down and hit the log splitter while it was still running. And that's when you notice that the log splitter is currently off. Like the saw is not going, even though you did notice it going last night when you were there.
Okay, and it was still... Yeah, it was going the whole time.
I mean, we turned the blade off, or turned the water wheel. We stopped it when we got here.
Oh.
What time is it now? Like 8?
No, it's a little
10?
after 10.
So we got up about 8.
You got up about 8:30. Yeah. Everybody was up by 9. You in particular, you and Sanishi got up around 8-ish.
So we're talking this happened between midnight and when did this guy when was this found?
Well, my nephew Paddock, he came in here and found this about 3 hours ago.
I'm sorry, your nephew who?
Paddock Hagensdorf. He's my
I'm
nephew
so glad
in a fashion. What was that?
I'm so glad that he was able to sneak away safely.
Well, he wasn't sneaking when he left here. He was running and screaming down the streets. It really... I tried to question him, but I haven't been able to get anything out of him. He's quite shaken, obviously, from what he saw here.
I think Icky might be able to calm him down.
And I have a feeling that even if he was running, it was probably a very sneaky run. But could we talk to him? Could we try? Maybe he'll speak to us.
Yeah. Once you're done here, if you want, I can take you to him. He's currently he's in the bottom of the barracks. I just got him there, hoping he'll calm down and come back to himself.
Sure. Do you have bloodhounds or anything to that effect? I mean, obviously they were stepping around in the blood and then the sawdust. The scent's got to go in a direction. It's only a couple hours old. 8 hours old at most.
Not in town. One of the surrounding farms might, if any of them hunt, but we're too small of a town to have anything like that. There's one... I am especially concerned, not so much about Katrine, but about what they did to Davrin. They didn't just kill him, they put him on spectacle. Whoever did that took their time.
Was there anything else that was found here that would indicate the hell? I mean, like this. All we have is this ritualistic killing and this note.
Well, ritual is a good word for it. I mean, whoever carved that thing into his chest, that's not normal. None of this is normal. What?
What was carved into your chest again?
Nobody's gone over and looked at the body, so you don't know. Are you asking?
Yes.
There's his shirt's ripped open and there's a weird star carved into his chest.
I described the 7-pointed star that we've been finding every freaking where.
I would love the necklace I've been wearing and show it to him. Does it look like this?
You can go.
In more detail than I'd like to know, where did you get that?
The thistle top before we burned it down.
We thought it was related to what the goblins were trying to bring about.
Well, I've seen plenty of goblin killing in my time, and they don't have the patience or the intelligence to do that. That took time. To carve off the bottom half of his face the way they did, that they had to have spent a decent amount of time doing it.
At this point, Icky goes and investigates the body.
Yeah, right.
All right, Icky, give me a medicine check.
Oh dear.
Oh dear, he says.
All right, with help.
I was expecting way worse. All right, 13.
13? Yeah. So you walk up to the body and you can see that it has been affixed to the walls by several hooks again. The body is mutilated pretty badly. The face is carved up and the entire lower jaw is missing. His shirt has been ripped open and his bare chest has been defaced with the ruin of a 7-pointed star, meticulously carved. And it is something you've become very used to at this point. You do also notice, because you rolled the exact medicine check you needed, nice job, that there are several additional wounds on his body beyond just the jaw and the chest. And unlike the deeper cuts of those, these smaller gashes on his sides, legs, arms, you can tell that they've been made by 5-fingered claws. And the claw, it seemed to be human-sized, not like talon-sized, not like Aarakocra-sized, but human-sized. And you can also tell that the same rotting scent that you caught on the bare feet is stronger at these smaller wounds than it is over the rest of the body.
Does a 22 do any better?
No. You would notice the same thing. Because 13 is actually, that was the cutoff to get that second half of information.
How high is the body up pinned on the wall?
The feet are just a few inches off the ground, so it's not like way up. It's just on the wall.
And how big of a guy was this?
Davrin was probably like 5'10"-ish.
So short, right, Sanishi?
Yeah, sure.
And he was, slightly muscular, not overly so.
So it would take a bit of strength to do this, but
it would take a little bit, yeah.
Not like crazy strength. Okay.
Is there any indication of where they came in? Like, did they come in through a window or like the front door? Is there like a broken window or anything like that?
Give me a perception check.
Oh, it's not the best, but it's not the worst. 13.
13? God. Maybe I need to make these higher next time. No. You can tell that as you follow the footprints, they actually go out the side hatch that leads out towards the Tarandarok River, a small pier. And as you go closer to the end of that pier, you actually the footprints go from just being normal bare footprints, and then you see that they turn to having some mud on them, like where the footprints were. And with the angle that they're pointed, you can tell that they kind of came out of the river up onto that small like landing dock and then in that way.
When you say they had mud on them, do you mean like
where there's like dried mud where the footprints were, and then as the footprints continue towards the sawmill, the mud stops. So it gives you the impression like there were mud on the feet and it came off.
Did they both enter and exit through the same location from what I can tell?
From what you can tell, yes.
Okay. And I do this very obviously so anyone who was interested could see. Wow, Grilda's walking away. What's going on?
Alright, Icky follows Grilda.
I'll try to track.
Give me a survival check.
I knew you were going to say that.
Is Sinishi helping? Is Sinishi sticking by her?
Wait, who,
She's pointing at the muddy footprints on
I was gonna
the dock, just like, what the fuck are muddy footprints doing on the dock? This is not where mud doesn't appear on.
Ishi, let's see where they go. Maybe you can help.
What is this? A survival?
Survival.
I got an 11.
Roll good, roll good.
Oh! No, I did not roll good. I rolled a 4.
A 4?
Oh dear. Oh dear.
You were able to see the little dock and then how it goes into the river. On the other side of the river, you are able to see that there is some brush that's flattened. So you're able to put together that most likely you think that's where they came from.
I'm still looking around in the building. Is there any sign of the jaw?
No.
You think that's where they came from over there, Sinishi?
I mean, I think it's worth a check. I mean, what's the worst case scenario? We go off in the bush and find some goblins and kill them.
How wide is the river here?
30 feet-ish.
So like relatively comfortably swimmable, or like
Yeah, it would be
dangerous
comfortable. I mean, there's a bit of a current, enough to turn a water wheel, but it's not like whitewater rapids or anything.
Okay, Grilda immediately starts walking across, like without talking to anyone.
Sheriff,
Yes.
we'll be back. You don't have a problem with us taking leave right now, do you?
Are you gonna be a while?
That depends on how far those tracks go and whether or not we can find somebody to bring back for questioning, or Sinishi gets there first and we don't have a chance to question anybody.
Alright. I'm not gonna stop you. I do have a couple other things when you're ready to move on from here.
Before I leave, I want to take a look at the body again. Can I investigate to see how the jaw was removed, or if there's any clue to how, was it cut, was it ripped off?
It was. You can tell that it was sliced. Like when Icky was looking at the body, you can see that it the skin wasn't torn. It was sliced.
And does it seem like it would have been sliced with the axe?
You can investigate the axe if you want.
Okay.
Give me a medicine check since you're looking for that.
According to the D&D Beyond thing, it sounds like it would be an investigation.
If you are trying to find out if that axe could make a certain type of cut, I would say that would be more of a medicine check. If you just want to take a look at the axe, that would be an investigation check.
This is discern from the appearance of a wound what kind of weapon dealt it.
That's investigation?
Yeah.
Oh, alright. Talk me into it.
Same one that smelt it.
That was terrible. Thank you.
20.
20? So as you look at the body and then you go over and take a look at the axe, and you can see that the axe is not a kind of an axe that could make precision cuts like that. Like if for the axe to be able to take off a jaw, it would probably smash most of the skull in the process. And as you look at the axe, you can actually tell that it only has a little bit of gore on it, and it is like rotten flesh and bone fragments on the blade of the axe. It doesn't look like fresh blood or anything like that. It actually and then from those rotted flesh and bone fragments, that stink of rotten meat that you've been getting off of certain spots is very, very strong from just the blade portion of it.
Whoa.
Good lord.
What?
That would be Ford and Moonin. They,
Are being shitty.
yeah. If it was Loki and Moonin, they'd be having fun. But no, Ford and Moon.
Alright, so
It's-
are you, Geisen, are you gonna stick around and keep exploring while whoever crosses the river is gonna cross the river?
I figured I was probably looking at this while they were checking out.
That's
stuff,
why I was
I'll
asking.
follow them out.
Alright. So then, yeah, the sheriff just mentioned that he had more to say, but then he just kind of waves you off.
Grelda? There's more, apparently.
Grelda has no response, does not turn around, continues moving forward. And she's not a great
It's
swimmer,
not like a
so-
long pier. It's only like 5 feet, so you'd be reaching the end of it going into the water fairly quickly, just so you know.
Yeah.
Okay. Then it's not,
She looks like she's struggling a lot.
no, Grelda can swim.
Okay.
And like I said, it's there's a current, but it's not suck you under kind of current. So Grelda's able to make it to the other side in just a couple of minutes.
I mean,
I'm going after Grelda.
she's really strong, but if she's wearing her plate armor,
I don't have plate armor.
oh,
I'm a
then no.
barbarian.
She's a barbarian. She doesn't have any armor.
Yeah, I will say, because my movement speed is slower than the average super fast person, I would say I probably don't go straight across. I probably land at least a little bit downstream, but I don't think I would have a lot of trouble.
Okay. Then you do make, like I said, you do end up making it over to the other side fairly easily.
I follow her.
I'm right there.
Yeah.
Checking for tracks again.
All right. I need a survival check from 2 people or 1 with advantage.
Grelda sees that they're there and helping, so she doesn't keep barging forward. She does slow down and wait.
Oh,
I have a
god damn
between.
it.
What'd you get?
I rolled a 3,
Oh dear.
12?
but my, I get +4.
Oh, that's good. That's usually
It's
good.
at least a 7
Usually good.
with my roll of 3.
Okay, so the spot that you saw where the little bit of brush is kind of pushed down, you notice that there are bare footprints there, but they just go from the spot to the river. You notice they go back and forth a couple of times, but they don't go inland. They just go between that spot and the river.
Like they just showed up there.
Like they came in and out of the river.
But I can't see them going inland anymore.
They don't go inland at all. No. Yeah, but as you are like sitting there, you do notice that if the brush was up, it's down a little bit from there, so it's actually a very good vantage point to see the inside of the mill if the doors are open.
So I
But
get the sense that somebody stood on the bank and looked, but they were actually in the river most of the time, is what you're saying.
I'm
So I can
saying
say
And maybe they came from upriver.
Maybe there were a dead body in the river and they got reanimated and came out on the wrong side first and then decided to turn around and come up on the other side and crawl up onto the pier and then went into the mill and killed our friends and then disappeared.
so
This
maybe
is a
she's-
super plausible theory.
I mean, are you sure that it's not just some mud golem being controlled by goblins?
No. No, I'm
you're not there, you can't egg her on.
It could be here in 2 seconds. He can
He's-
fly, okay?
That is true.
Can he fly with a hangover?
No.
Not straight, but
But Grelda is right. You do get the sense that the footprints came from the river, and then they stayed here Like they moved forward and back from the river and then went over to the sawmill.
Does it look like the footprints stop where somebody that landed a boat would stop?
You don't see any indication of anything other than just footprints. Like you don't see a rope or where indentation from a boat being grounded or anything like that.
And does it look like the footprints are in the water? Like, can I see any imprints actually in the water?
You just...
In the shallow banky bit?
No. You see them on the land. You see them going like to the edge of the banks of the water, but because it's a constant stream, like it's a constant movement of the river, that once they go in, they're pretty flat. Everything is flat.
And you know, Lars, you can only step in this. You can never step in the same river twice.
Thank you for your wisdom, Sanishi.
But instead of trying to just go off on a wild goose chase, which is basically what it'd be, or a wild snipe hunt, or a mud golem, or whatever the hell it was. So we go back across, talk to the sheriff, see if we can get some solid leads, because there are no tracks for me to follow.
I got nothing.
Grelda pauses for like slightly longer than is comfortable and then silently just goes back across the river following their advice.
Okay.
Do what I'm saying.
You go across the river and you notice that with the way that pier is set up, it is fairly easy to climb from the river up onto the pier. Like with the way the wood is crossed, makes for very easy hand and footholds.
Are there any claw marks in the wood there?
No.
As the people that went through the river come back, I clean them up with prestidigitation.
Now you're all dry.
Oh, sweet.
Aww.
Appreciate that.
The little one did something nice.
Without immediate gain obvious from it, it's like he's growing as a person.
All right, so the standing with this newly warm-hearted gnome and the Arakokra, the sheriff leans over. Anything?
Stop. Look what came out of the river, stood on the banks, looking into the sawmill, and whenever they saw what they were looking for, they came back across, did what they did, and disappeared.
I should tell you that the other reason I asked you to look at this is this isn't the first of these kinds of murders that have happened over the last couple of days.
If anyone's noticed, Geralda's grip on the axe gets a lot tighter. She's not okay with this because it was said earlier that he knew there was already an assignation happening between these two at the mill prior to tonight.
No, he said he asked around, and it's been rumored that they've been meeting.
Okay.
So the sheriff kind of puts his hand over his bald head. About 2 days ago, a patrol of guards along the Lost Coast Road were assaulted by a deranged man near an abandoned barn south of town. And the man was insane. His skin was red and sweaty and fevered, and his eyes are wild, and his mouth was frothing. So the guards finally got him under control. And when they followed where he had come from, they found a barn, and inside there were 3 bodies that were mutilated, basically like Davrin's was. The same star scarred into their chest, and one of them did have something in his pocket that made me think of you, points to Icky, once I found that note attached to Davrin's leg. And as he shows it to you, you notice that the writing is a little more... It's easier to read, but it's the same quality parchmentship or parchment paper, and it's the same kind of ink. It's just written in a smoother hand than the previous note was.
Oh, like I was trying to decipher that writing, and it was so hard, I did not even notice it was typed out underneath it.
I was doing the same thing.
Jesus.
I did the same thing too.
Oh, thank God.
But now I have Up on Cripple Creek, like, on rotation in my mind. Like, this.
Are the names at the top the people that were killed in the barn?
Yes. They're, I've heard of these people before. They're small-time swindlers. They don't usually operate anywhere near Sandpoint, so I was surprised to see them this close.
Where do they usually operate?
Closer to... I had it written down. Closer to Nybor. It's a small series of settlements 20, 30 miles to the east.
I think this is the first time we've heard of that town. I don't have it written down anywhere.
Yes.
Magnamar is the one we most likely hear about.
Yes, it is.
It's right there.
There you go.
Sandpoint is the big white dot on the top.
But I don't see the other one.
Oh,
I just switched the map.
fine, get away. You and your technology.
I mean, I am aware of these three, but they're small time and...
Okay. Okay.
There is, the person they were... It is, the man that was insane, that was, managed to find out his name was Graced Sevilla. He was their bodyguard. Once they got him to Habe's sanatorium, he began to, I guess, make more sense. I don't know how much more sense he was able to make, but they were able to get a little bit out of him.
What did he say?
He said his name. He said that he was their bodyguard, that they had reached a deal with his lordship. That's all I've been able to get. He's been at Habe's Sanitarium since then.
We don't know who your lordship could be.
There's no lords anywhere around this area. Nobody that would refer to themselves that way.
Didn't you tell us about that organization and that guy with the thing who did the thing?
Am I not recalling something that I should?
I'm not sure.
I think she's talking about the Good Neighbors.
Right. But so, like, quick.
Well, before the Good Neighbors, there was that other group who was taken over by the guy who they didn't like, which is why they became the Good Neighbors.
I don't remember how much Tarnan shared with you about the Ascended.
I wasn't given that part out.
Yeah.
You didn't give any of that out? Okay. I don't remember exactly how much time you shared with them.
As long as that's being brought up, is that something I would click on?
No.
God, I need to play a smart character.
That's what you're gonna be. I don't know, like smart, well-adjusted character.
I predict that next group will all be really intelligent healers with all kinds of spells, except for Dyson, who will be replaced by some dumb barbarian type.
I Actually, Bill, I'm pretty sure that you are going to play the dumbest character you can, so you never have to be the leader again. That is my prediction.
See, my goal is to make like the role playing and the intelligence really necessary in this campaign, so that everybody rolls a really smart, intelligent character next time, and we're just going to do like a 18 level dungeon delve.
Yeah, that's going to be the total just dungeon crawl slaughter.
No RP, no plot building.
I will say my original intent with Grelda was to make her smart, because she began with like the book and like taking down people's, but yeah, it just didn't roll that way, and that's not. She now no longer knows her left from her right very accurately, so that's who we're dealing with.
No, that's okay. It works for me because kill her sister shit.
So,
all right, so the
question. How much of the because I know like I don't remember how much of the conversation between Tarnin and Geisen on the way back to Sandpoint about the books and the Ascended and all that was privy to the group. Was that just between the two of them?
Yeah, I think it was.
Okay.
I heard some of it though.
Yeah, but the Ascended wasn't mentioned. The books just talked about the items and then the ritual to become a god, and then like some other things about Kurzog and the Runelords. But the books themselves didn't mention the Ascended or anything like that.
Does anything about this ritual murder ring any bells from reading the books?
Only the 7-pointed star, but that in no more than any of the other 7-pointed stars you've come across.
So the books didn't have like kill like 13 random folk and like string them up and carve this into their chest, like just in diagrams on like page 13?
No, actually neither of the books really went into much detail about the actual ritual itself, just what was needed to perform the ritual.
There's something about a sawmill and ripping a jaw off and something like that. I don't really remember.
That's what I was kind of curious about. Is if anybody knew any, or could remember any history? Oh my God, I have a little bit of history. Any history or lore about jaw removal? Because the lower jaw being cleanly removed seems specific.
Which, by the way, Geisen, later Grelda is really going to appreciate what you've done here. She's just not in a point for it right now.
So the what was up?
The sheriff's still with us, right?
Yep.
Were any body parts taken from the other crime scene?
No, they were sliced up in much the same way. The star on the chest and like the face was cut up, but the jaw wasn't removed. It just seems so. I don't know why they spent so much time on him, and Katrine just seemed to be in the way. She met a terrible end, but at least it looked like it was quick. That looked like it took time.
Also, from an out-of-character standpoint, it kills me that I very nearly offered to sit with that barrel of beer and just hang out outside of the mill with Sneak.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I was like this close. I was so close to saying it, and then I'm like, nah.
Yeah, like that crossed my mind like after the fact. It was like, oh man, if only I like could have had some sort of in-character excuse to like hang out.
Yeah, no, in the moment, I nearly offered it, and then I was like, no, everyone here is so sure that all they're doing is just, knocking boots. It's fine. I may never forgive you, Shine, just so you know. No one else can fuck away as well as he can. Grelda will never get that again.
Oh boy. Sheriff, you're telling me we had this information 2 days ago? Never mind, we weren't here 2 days ago.
Yeah, no, we weren't.
But we came back last night, and
we went straight to the bar. Like, he had no opportunity to tell us this.
One rash of killings we were investigating. This second one, and in town, this is beyond my Crown's Guard's ability.
Did we get an explanation of why the first murder made him think of me?
The parchment paper was the same. The handwriting inside of it was using it was. It's neater. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So that's why he said
Okay.
once he found the
I got
second
the
note,
impression that-
it made him think of you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, 'cause I had it in my head as like, oh, this first murder happened, and it made us think of Icky. But okay, I get it now.
Okay, I am gonna take a quick break to say goodnight to Olivia. She's gonna go to bed.
Okay.
So I will be right back.
All right.
Bye.
Oh, so I almost feel like I should wait to bring this up until Sean's back. But so this just reminds me of the dude that we saved right after the initial raid, who was like all about me. There was some
Interesting point.
do you because it was, I think it was with Icky and Tarnin.
Yeah.
That it was some like lord from Magnamar who was all like, oh, this gigantic, magnificent bird.
Aldern Foxglow of the Magnamar Foxglow. He was staying at the Rusty Dragon for a few days.
I had the same thought actually, and I do recall he gave Icky an open invitation to join him in Magnamar. Icky saved him specifically. I think Icky was the one who killed the goblin that was menacing him in that alleyway.
I remember taking notes about him somewhere. It didn't make it into D&D Beyond. But that's ringing a bell.
Did Icky have any feelings about the guy that was murdered? Did you not like him, or?
I don't recall feeling any one way or another about this guy.
I think
I
we
don't think
need.
you ever actually met him. I don't think you ever encountered him at all.
Yeah, I don't know that I did. I think that whenever y'all went to the stables, Icky was like, fuck that, I'm gonna go drinking.
Yeah, I think that's accurate.
Because Icky's always been kind of ambivalent about horses. Because he's like, okay, well, if you guys are gonna get me one, I'll ride one with you, but otherwise I can just fly.
Ride one or perch on its saddle?
Yeah,
I think we need.
Just real quick, while we were all doing our bathing thing, I really wanted Nate to just in the background be like,
if I hadn't been so hungover, I would have done like splashing around in the pond, like preening myself thing. But it was just kind of a miserable morning. So
I'm really trying to find this guy's name. I know there's a brothel in Magnamar called All the Way In, but I'm pretty sure that was from the the guy that we were in the buttered hallway with. I don't think that was related to your fellow.
Oh man, the things I missed.
Yeah. So if anybody has any notes on that guy, like Aldrin Foxglove, was it?
Yeah, Auric was the
he's a lesser noble from Magnamar, of the Magnamar Foxglove clan. He was staying at the Rusty Dragon for a couple of days. Gave Icky an invitation to come see him. Yeah, that's all I have on him.
Yeah, that's not a very trustworthy name, right?
Oh yeah, no, that's that was the thing. It's I got just a real sketchy vibe off of him when we met him, and he was like, "Oh, Bird, I'm so into you." And I'm okay.
Yeah, it was really creepy. It was not okay.
Yeah. Okay, I was right. Foxglove is poison.
It's poison, but it's also used in heart medicine. It's just if you take too much of it, it makes your heart do too much of the thing.
Right.
And then
but I also. Oh, sorry.
No worries. Go ahead.
I think we are doing ourselves a massive disservice by not investigating the woman's body.
Oh yeah, no, we need to
as a group.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think our investigation of this place is over in any way, shape, or form.
I don't think so either. But I'm just like, since y'all were out like investigating stuff, like, and I was like, even like, Icky is like legitimately like focusing in on this note because it's kind of fucking with him.
Well, Turner wants to ask Icky about that note, but he doesn't want to do it in front of the sheriff. Just in case
Fair.
Icky had something to say.
That's fair.
All right.
You missed some quality sussing out of what's going on.
Oh.
Lars quit and Grella had shut off the camera, and
So I came back in just in time for everybody to leave.
Yeah, pretty much.
Out.
I'm actually still here. I can hear you guys the whole time, even when I had the camera off.
Oh, shit.
No.
I can't believe we said all of those things about her.
I know, right? It was horrifying.
Yes.
Well, so I just like to recap to you because like since we like I just like told it to the whole group, but this is like the whole your lordship thing. It's reminded me of the creepy guy that I saved at the beginning of the campaign, who was all like, "Come to Magnamar with me, you pretty bird."
Which is super subtle and like very okay.
Well, yeah, that was. I remember because he was all touchy feely with you.
He
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, and like that's the only person that we've met that I can think was like,
That was Aldern Foxglove.
oh Birdie,
I remembered him.
Come on, fuck bros.
you made me uncomfortable with that character. He made an impression.
It is my goal to make you uncomfortable, Nate.
Well, mission
He
accomplished.
made Nick uncomfortable, or he made Icky uncomfortable? 'Cause-
Yes.
Little from column A, little from column B.
Oh,
I had to soothe him a bit that night.
Yeah, I like, and by a little, I mean like I cried.
Well, I wasn't going to say anything.
This Mr. Foxglove made me feel violated.
It's true.
Oh, Nate, you're using the weird can thing I got you. Thank you.
Aw.
Not inside.
Oh no, thank you.
I come out more frequently than you might guess.
I actually bought this beer like can because I usually get just bottles, but every now and then like cans just so I can use that because it makes me happy.
Did you get me one of those too? It looks familiar.
I think I did. I think I got a 2-pack.
Yeah, they were a Think Geek thing.
They were. So that means they're now originals, and you can't get those anymore.
Did you know Think Geek is still sort of around?
It is sort of. It was bought by GameStop, and so some of the stuff you can get. But before ThinkGeek closed its doors, they actually lost several of their vendors. I noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
apparently-
just noticed, like this week that you can still buy some of their stuff. I didn't realize that. I thought they were gone all the way.
Yeah, most of the GameStop stores I've been in no longer sell games primarily. It's mostly merch.
Yeah, apparently GameStop is actually struggling like fuck right now due to the change in how games are purchased.
Yeah.
And they can't quite sell enough merch.
And
or
unfortunately, their
business model.
solution was Funko Pop, which is not
You can't make
done
that up.
well lately.
They're also on the essential
Anyway,
compliments.
so standard point.
Okay, so
We wanted.
I want to go.
check out the female's body.
Yeah. So okay, I'm thinking of what?
Tarnin's already walking that way.
All right. I think I'm going to start this one for myself by going, because she's at the bottom of the chute, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to actually start in the river and look up the chute from the river and check out what's going on from that direction. Personally.
Trying to think how that's laid out.
Because that would work, right? That's how that would go.
There is the chute goes like there's the floor where the bodies are at. There's a chute that goes down to like a subfloor, and then there are two thin, long doors that kind of open out for loading the cut wood like into a boat that would be there. So it's kind of like the dock, and then there's like a sub dock area, I guess would be the best way to describe it. Because where the chute goes down to is kind of like a sub floor, almost a basement-ish level. If that makes sense.
Okay, so she's split in two.
Yes.
Split in twain, like an arrow. Down in that. Okay, so I'm gonna go down to that sub level then.
Okay, then Tarnin's going as well.
Yep.
All right, then give me an investigation check for both of you.
Ooh. And investigation. I think it's just.
Modified 20.
Okay.
I have 20.
Oh, both of you. All right.
Yeah.
All right, then with you can see that there aren't any other injuries on her body other than the giant saw blade that cut her in half. But I mean, she doesn't have any of like the scratches or anything like that. In one of her hands, you do see some pieces of wood in her palm, and it's the same wood that's on the axe handle that's on the floor. So you're able to put together that she was the one holding the axe, most likely in some kind of self-defense. You can also tell that without any of the other injuries on her body, she was most likely killed quickly. Like, she was most likely pushed down and killed. Like, it was pretty instantaneous. There wasn't any lead up to it. But other than that, you can't really tell anything else from the body itself.
I'll pass that theory on to the rest of the group.
Is the body split like perfectly in half?
It's like shoulder down. It's, I mean, relatively in half. It might be at a slight angle, but it looked like she, with the way the body is, it's on its back, so it looks like she was pushed backwards and slid down.
That cut in triangles.
Okay. That's looking for.
But it looks like she was pushed, kind of slid down the chute backwards, and then it caught her.
Okay.
The slip of paper, was Icky's name written on the back?
It was like, there's the writing, and then it was folded in half, and it was written. His name was written on one side, and there's a like small hole through it where somebody took a splinter of wood, jammed it through into Hosk's leg, like to pin it there.
This would have been back when I was looking at the paper, I guess, but the handwriting of the name looked like the same as the note.
Yes. Just the note was in ink, and the handwriting was in blood. Or the name was in blood on the outside.
All right, so if you got anything else for us?
Does it smell down here on the sublevel like it did up there? Do we still have the rotten meat smell down here?
Not nearly as intense as up there. Like, it's more of an indirect, like it's wafting down, but there's not like the concentrated sections down here or down there that there was up on the top of that extra rotten smell meat. And that is like, the smell you get off of the bodies is obviously not pleasant, but that rotten meat smell is exponentially worse.
Okay.
So then the sheriff just kind of looks. There's murder 2 days ago. The note with your name on it. I don't know. Where you guys have any? Do you have any ideas? Where are you thinking of going next?
I suppose we can solve this puzzle as opposed to going out goblin hunting for today.
You would have my gratitude if you could stop that from happening to anybody else.
Can Grilda offer some cider to Icky Because if nothing else is true, she certainly knows where he was last night and also 2 nights ago. So she knows he didn't do it.
The sheriff sees this and like, I can't officially rule anybody out, but I don't think you did it. I don't have you on my list.
Well, I can promise you that I had nothing to do with this, but I will have everything to do with figuring out who did and bringing them justice.
Oh my god, that's right. Cam and I were alone when this happened. Could either of us have done it?
The sheriff kind of looks at you and looks at both of you. Well, where were you last night?
Well, I don't know if you could have done it, but I would have done it.
I mean, I thought I was in my room sleeping, but now I'm wondering.
The sheriff, he looks at you and then turns and looks at Tarnin and goes, so, where are you thinking of going next?
Tarnin does manage to suppress the laughter.
Do you have to roll for that, Tarnin?
There's a certain trait that Tarnin has that there's a little bit of chaos in him, and he's got to roll from time to time to see if he just lets it all out and lets slip some wildness in him.
The real reason he goes to bed early is so he can just laugh at all the shit Sanishi has said throughout the day.
It's not
And
just
just-
Tanishi, believe me. It's not just Tanishi. How did I get involved with these people? What was I thinking? I'm walking around with a bird, a half-orc, a little guy, used to be human, now he's a gnome. I don't know what happened there. And a dwarf.
And her axe. Do not leave Sasha out of this list of people who piss you off.
And apparently I am the godfather to this axe, and should something happen to you, I have to care for it as if it were a child. There's
Better
some
believe it.
clause here. Not different kind of clause, Nicky. Don't get excited. Okay, so that returns to the sheriff. Do you think there'd be any reason for us to head up to this barn by Cougar Creek there? I mean, I'm not sure where to go next.
Well, there wasn't anything in the barn but the bodies, and those are currently cooling at the basement level of the jail until we can bury them. What was that?
Tarnin turns to Geisen. Do you think there'd be any purpose for us looking at those other bodies, Geisen? Anything else you might be able to glean?
I don't know that we have any other leads right now, do we? We might as well take a look.
No, we do. There's the boy who found the bodies. We could talk to him.
Yeah.
You can try to talk to Paddock.
He's
You can.
also apparently on the same level as these dead bodies, which seems like poor planning.
He said, "There's also, if you think you can get anything more out of Graced, as you could go talk to him as well."
Let's talk to the boy, and then, depending on what we find out from that, maybe go look at the bodies.
Grace?
The bodyguard from the barn killings a couple days ago.
Yeah.
He's currently in Habe's Sanatorium, south of town, a couple miles.
That sounds like a good start.
That sounds like fun. No, let's talk to the
We should
boy.
split the party.
Well,
Oh, I didn't upload it all.
Oh, come on, Sean. I fed you that. That was perfect.
Man, and like you should just have to play it in our messenger thing. It's right there.
I don't know if that's gonna show up through here though.
Never mind. I quit.
I hate you all.
Bill looks very confused.
right now we're looking for a barefoot madman who apparently has a stench of rotting meat about him. Can't help but, I mean, somebody had to notice that smell, right? Never split the party.
Did the bare feet tracks, did we have a reason to think that those were the killer? Did those smell?
Those are
Yeah.
the bare feet tracks are the ones that had the like extremely rotted smell on them.
Okay.
And those are the ones that led from the pier into the water across the river.
And I would like to say, he might have put shoes on, guys.
We'll never
Or-
find them then.
Shoes aren't going to help that smell.
That's cheating.
Yeah.
You can't wear shoes.
You guys told me I smelled like death for like a month.
And then you
I-
did, and you away.
Bath.
And it took you a while to take that bath, so I feel like we've got a little bit of time. We should get on it, but we've got a little bit of time before this guy can wash the stink off.
All right, so
It's going to be more than just a quick, dousing.
Paddock first, and then what was it? Grassed?
Graced.
Graced.
All right. All right.
To the nugget.
I can take you to Paddock if you'll just follow me. And then kind of heads through and is like opens the door. As long as everybody follows him, he ends up slowly walking through town, and then walks you to the jail. Through the front door, the stairs split. One goes up, one goes down, and he takes you down, and that is a level with a bunch of kind of opens up into about 6 cells, and then he turns 180 degrees and goes down another level, and it's very chilly down there. And as you step down on the opposite end of the room, there's 3 bodies with sheets draped over them, and then he takes you into a side room, and in the corner of the side room on a chair, just huddled in the corner with his arms around him, you see Paddock. And actually, you see Paddock there, and next to him in another chair with his arm around Paddock, you see the bartender from the White Deer Inn with his arm around Paddock and rubbing him, and the bartender kind of looks up and stops and just eyes all of you, and then kind of squeezes Paddock a little closer. And the sheriff goes,
Bro-
It's all right. I brought them in to try and help with this.
Geralda stays at the doorway. She does not actually go into the room, so she just sort of makes sure no one can leave.
Icky egregiously sneaks up to Paddock.
Paddock is currently like this with his head down.
Nonetheless, Icky is going to sneak with slightly exaggerated movements. And if Paddock doesn't see it, fine.
I'm picturing an owl lifting up all their things to those skinny legs and just
Owl legs.
Okay.
So Icky sneaks up the Paddock. And,
All right. The bartender with his arm around him, just kind of his face is very solemn and concerned, but he still gives you a very odd look.
Do we know? Does anything seem odd about Paddock other than the fact that he's curled up?
Give me a perception check, and then we'll go forward with Icky.
Can I investigate whether there's anything odd about Paddock?
You gonna go up and start touching him and feeling him?
Mr. Touchy.
You okay? Are you okay? Are you okay?
How about I help you make that perception check?
If you guys are gonna discuss it in the room, you can. Because you helping with a perception check.
Roll separately.
Okay.
13.
13.
Modified 22.
22. His skin seems a little pale, and he seems to be shaking a little bit. But given what he saw, you don't think that would be out of the ordinary.
Isn't that normal for Paddock anyway?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Minus the shaking.
Do his shoes Is he wearing shoes?
He is wearing boots, yes.
Do they have? Does it look like he like walked through any blood or anything, or?
No. They look very clean.
Almost
Too clean?
clean.
Like he cleaned them. Sneakily.
Tarna drops down to one knee and actually grabs the guy's hand gently.
Oh, hold on. Icky was walking up first.
Yeah. So like, Icky was, gonna just be like, so he's like, "Hey, kid."
He's just rocking.
So like, Icky gets down, like tries to like look at him in the face. He's like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to sneak up on you. Doing all right?"
He looks at you and goes, You weren't very sneaky. I saw you come in.
Not as good as you. I haven't seen very many who are. You doing all right?
How could something do that? I've never seen anything like that before. It's not right. It's not normal.
You're right, it's not. We're trying to figure out what happened so we can make sure it never happens again. But we need your help. Is there anything that you can do to help us, Paddock?
People been talking that Devon and that girl were meeting at night, doing, I wanted to see if they were right. So I waited till it was dark. I snuck over there, I opened the door, and that's when I saw Devon against the wall. It all hung up and cut up, and I've never seen that before, and I just ran.
When did you see him? When did you go? When did you sneak up on him? What
When it was
time?
dark.
It was right before sunrise. It was, 5:30, something. I wanted to get there right before the sun came up, so I could see if they were actually there.
Did you see anything or anyone else?
All I saw was Devon on the wall. I opened the door and I could see him from across, and I just turned and ran and didn't even go inside. I wish I could help, but I didn't go inside. I didn't see anything other than him.
No, you've already helped a lot, and you were clearly very sneaky while you did all of it. You did a great job.
And he turns and he goes, "I told you I was sneaky," to the guy right up on, and he just goes back to rocking.
Oh, even traumatized, this kid's adorable. Oh.
The human mating rituals normally last for 5 to 6 hours.
It can happen.
That was so casually done.
At the same time, the sheriff and the bartender with his arm around him go,
So wrong.
Paddock. You said you went in when it got dark, but also when the sun came up.
I waited till it was dark, and they met after dark, and I wanted it to be dark, but I waited till it was getting close to sunrise before I tried it.
Were the lights off?
Inside?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you wait for the lights off?
It was a bright moon last night. It shone right inside.
Because the lights were on when we were there.
No.
No, they weren't.
No, they weren't. Okay.
No.
No.
No, you saw what you saw because of the moonlight.
And
There were no
the dark
lights on
vision
inside.
that everyone except for Icky has. Yet again, proof that Icky did not do this.
Did you see me?
No? Why would I?
Well,
You're very
I'm
sneaky.
there at midnight.
You
and
were-
I just,
Yeah, you were there at midnight. He was there at like 5.
well, I don't know. He said he waited to go in until 5. He could have seen
Sanishi doesn't understand human time.
me. I'm confused.
Sun time? Moon time.
It's all time to me. I don't know.
It is 3 of the moon times o'clock. That means I should be asleep.
Yes. I was up past my bedtime. I got confused. I was trying to be sneaky. All my concentration was on being sneaky. I lost everything else.
Is the bartender the kid's father?
Are you asking this?
Like, I mean, have we seen them together or anything before?
You have seen Paddock at the White Deer Inn at the same time the bartender was there.
Resemblance.
What was that?
Is there a resemblance? Do they look like they could be related?
No, the bartender is extremely dark-skinned. And Paddock is very pale white.
Well, you spend enough time in the dark, you look white as hell. Just, say it.
Just what?
Maybe the bartender actually works during the day and the kid is always out at night. Never sees the sun. So they don't look in their face, they don't look related at all.
No.
I am pretty sure we did see an interaction where Paddock was so very sneaky, and the bartender like rolled his eye, died real heavy, and then helped him appear to be snakier. So
Yes.
yeah.
But no, they are very obviously not related.
Okay. Trying takes a knee and puts his hand on Paddock's shoulder. You didn't do anything wrong. Something bad happened, but it's not your fault. We're going to go try to figure out what happened. Make sure it doesn't happen again. What I need you to do, if you can, is relax, keep an eye out, and if anything triggers memory, anything comes to mind, you either tell the sheriff or you tell your bartender friend here and have him get a hold of us, or you come find us yourself. Just try not to scare us when you sneak up on us, okay?
I will, if I remember anything.
All right. Taryn looks at the rest of the group. Do you guys have any other encouraging words or any other quick questions before we let this guy get back to being the brave soul that he is?
I don't think so.
Stay sneaky, buddy.
Always. And then the sheriff kind of opens up the door again and ushers you out.
Just so if everyone leaves following the sheriff, Grelda does go over. She doesn't say anything, but she puts her hand on Paddock's shoulder and squeezes, not super hard, but like, and then just silently walks away while patting Sasha.
All right. And then
Like,
as
it's
everybody...
silent, we're gonna kill him, don't worry. we're gonna fucking kill him.
And then as Grelda walks out, the sheriff closes the door. I'm sorry he couldn't be more helpful. He's he's a gentle soul, and I don't think he's ever, since his parents died, I don't think he's ever seen anything like that.
You shouldn't have to. And if we get it, I get the feeling that the rest of the night, true to myself, and anything to say about it, you will not see something like that again.
What did he see when his parents died?
Their bodies, they were part of the chopper killing spree about 5 years ago, just before the church burned down, during the late unpleasantness, as the folks around here refer to it.
So they were murdered?
Yeah, one night apart.
Is this something we should know about?
You've been in town a couple weeks. I figured somebody would have told you that story.
Yeah, we've been telling stories, not listening to them.
Well, I mean, if you want to hear it, I can tell you it's not pleasant.
This is an unpleasant situation.
All right, he looks at the bodies. I guess this is the best place for a story of this sort. All right, hold on a second.
Shinichi settles comfortably down next to one of the bodies.
I have been marked somewhere. My daughter loves that song, by the way.
As well she should.
Ever since I showed it to her, yeah, she adores it. All right.
The Muppet version, right?
What was that?
The Muppet version?
Oh, of course.
Wait, there's more than one version?
There's like an original 1950s or 60s song that the Muppet version took off of.
Watch your whore
Yeah,
mouth.
so it is actually a real song.
It is a real song. I was sad to find that out as well. The Muppet version is like a million times better. All right, so
Through like everything that the Muppets did. The Muppets version.
is better.
Rainbow Connection.
All right. So the sheriff he walks over to the wall, kind of leans back a little bit. Well, it started about a little over 5 years ago. It was the month that led up to the fire that ended up burning down the old chapel. There was a man in town who was special. He had some mental issues, but everybody in the town took care of him. He enjoyed carving, so he would go around town and carve little birds into the wood of everybody's store or fence post or signpost, and he was really good at it, so the people in town kind of just let him do it. And after doing that for a few months, he asked for a place to stay, so there's a little island just off the coast, and we let him build a little house there for himself. After he moved there, though, he started coming into town less and less, and that's about the time that the bodies started piling up. In Sandpoint, we're not a stranger to crime, even murder. You know, once or twice a year, passions flare, somebody gets too drunk, somebody finds their spouse with somebody else, and things go too far. But this time, when these bodies started to pile up, we didn't know how to handle it because it was different than any other murders had been. The sheriff at the time, before me, he was a no-nonsense man named Casp Averton. He had been the sheriff for 15 years at that point. He was a retired city watch officer from Magnamar. Even being in Magnamar, he wasn't prepared for what he found. The people in town dubbed the murderer, they gave him the nickname Chopper, because over the course of the single month, it seemed like every night there was a new body. Each body was found mutilated. There were deep cuts to the hands and torso. To the face and torso. The hands and feet were severed and stacked near the body, and the eyes and the tongue were plucked out and missing. Chopper ended up claiming 25 victims that month. And for whatever reason, he had a very uncanny knack for evading traps and pursuit. And the sheriff actually ended up being his last victim. The sheriff walked up on him, killing in the midst of cutting a victim up, and tussled with him. And unfortunately, the sheriff was killed, and the killer was found dead as well. It was the same person who had been carving the bird carvings into town. So after both bodies were found, the town's guard went over to his island, and in the basement they found all of the hands and feet stacked all of the eyes and tongues stacked in front of an altar to some evil bird serpent god.
Bingo.
They burned it to the ground, collapsed everything, and then 2 days later is when the fire happened. It was a period like nothing this town has ever seen, until now, I guess. And
I'm sorry. How long ago was this?
5 years, right about 5 years. And that's where Paddock's parents were both victims one night after the other. And that's when my brother kind of took him in.
The barkeeper?
Yeah.
He's your brother?
Yeah. He's,
Another mother?
No, they actually look fairly similar. They're both dark-skinned, both shaved heads. The bartender is a little wider than the sheriff is, but they actually look fairly similar.
Okay.
I would like to know more about this, like, damn it. In character, I say nothing and it bothers me, but this bird serpent god is really struggling with, like...
Yeah, I'm actually, like Icky is very curious about this bird serpent god and would like to know more, like, well,
Half intriguing, half delicious.
I'm looking up. I'm looking at Icky's knowledge stuff now, but like, would this ring any bells with Icky?
Give me a religion check.
Have you heard of our Lord and Savior, Bird Serpent?
16.
16?
Ooh.
You ask the sheriff about it, and he tells you that he was one of the people to go to this small island, and he describes it. Basically, it's the bottom half is a serpent. The top half is like a winged. It has like it's a bird up to the neck, and then it's like it had a demon head. And as he describes it, it's, I wouldn't say it rings any bells in particular. It vaguely sounds like with your history of Desna, it sounds like a creature of temptation is the only bell it rings for you. But that's really all you come back with.
Does this strike anything with Geisen with all the reading that he's done?
I would give me a religion check as well. Actually, for you, give me a religion check. Yeah, give me a religion check.
That was a satisfying sound.
17.
17. I would say that through your reading, you've kind of heard the same, like you kind of get the same idea that Icky does. It's a demonic creature, and you remember reading something about being like a demon or a specter of temptation. but nothing really more than that.
So, did anybody notice if, with the removal of the lower jaw, did the tongue get removed as well?
The tongue was removed, yes.
Okay.
The eyes weren't, though, right?
No, the eyes were not.
Which, with the body sitting alone for even a couple hours, seems a little unlikely, because there would have been like barn swallows probably in that place, and God, they would have eaten those eyes, because eyes are delicious.
Well, remember, Grelda asked when you went in there.